Hi everyone, I'm Milinka Vartik and you're watching a new tutorial on pianocareeracademy.com as part of my holistic piano coaching program. Today we are going to talk about the biomechanics of piano pedaling, and I'm going to show you how to use the sustain pedal, which is also called the damper pedal, in a healthy, tensionless manner that does not cause fatigue, pain, or repetitive stress injuries. If you experience any of these issues, if pedaling feels awkward or uncomfortable for you and you're not sure what you're doing wrong, if your ankle or knee hurt after using the pedal, or if you're a beginner and you simply want to form a correct pedaling habit from the start, then in this video you'll discover several very simple yet very effective principles that will make your pedaling more comfortable so that you can focus on what really matters, your expressive goals. Before starting, I have to mention that if you're an absolute beginner and you don't know anything about the piano pedals, then you should also watch my series of tutorials entitled Using the Piano Pedals, the Art Behind the Mechanism. And you can learn the art of pedaling from scratch in a step-by-step manner by following our video course for beginners at pianocareeracademy.com. And now let's start. Make sure that you keep a correct distance from the piano so that there will be at least a 90-degree angle in your knee joint. If you sit too close and your knee forms a sharp angle, you see like this will make the movement of your foot much more difficult and tense. So this is the first mistake you have to avoid, also not forgetting that a correct distance from the piano is very important for the freedom of motion and relaxation of your arms and hands. So 90-degree here or a little bit more is okay as well. Next, your heel should always be on the ground as you press and release the pedal, and never in the air. And one of the most important things, the ball of your foot should be comfortably placed on the larger part of the pedal. This obviously depends a lot on the shape of your shoes, but trying to find a position that feels very grounded and stable, and avoid exaggerations in any direction. Like this. Now, the actual movement of pressing and releasing the pedal is done by engaging the muscles of your shin. I think the correct term is the tibialis anterior muscle. During this movement, the heel stays on the ground and the foot moves smoothly without losing contact with the pedal and without any extra tension. So don't press your heel into the ground, don't tense unnecessary muscles, and make sure that your quads, hamstrings, and also calf muscles are relaxed and you're only applying the minimum effort needed for depressing the pedal, so only engaging these shin muscles. You can feel them moving if you place your hand right here and you use the pedal. I'm mentioning this especially for beginners because whenever we learn something new, we tend to tense up, which is a normal reaction to performing movements that are still unfamiliar and awkward. And if we're not aware of this tension and we keep going through the motions incorrectly, we will memorize this sensation of playing with tension. We will form a bad habit and we might also end up with a repetitive strain injury. So at least for a couple of weeks from the moment when you start using the pedal, perform a little mental check before starting to play, and also as often as possible during playing. And make sure there's no unnecessary tension and that your pedaling position is correct and as relaxed as possible. Returning to pressing and releasing the pedal. Avoid sudden movements. Make sure that the pedal mechanism doesn't produce any noise, such as this one, which happens if I lift my foot too high and too quickly, which makes the pedal lever strike the piano. So you have to keep your hearing active, not only for expressive reasons, as I explain in all my other pedaling tutorials, but also for making sure that you're using the mechanism smoothly and silently. By the way, in case you didn't know, the pedal mechanism can be adjusted, offering several degrees of resistance and also sound sustainability. But this is something your tuner should do, and they usually keep things in the comfortable golden middle. Also, if your pedal starts squeaking one day, call the tuner and don't attempt to fix it yourself, not unless you have some knowledge in this field. Now let's return to the biomechanics of correct pedaling. If you use the pedal properly, you should never feel any tension, any pain, any fatigue. But if at any moment in your practice you feel that your muscles are getting tired, please stop, take a break, and don't allow this fatigue to degenerate into pain. Actually, if all pianists would listen to their body and follow this simple rule, taking a break, reevaluating what they're doing, allowing the muscles to rest and making corrections if necessary at the first sign of tension or tiredness and not when they're already in pain, then piano-related hand, wrist and foot injuries would simply not exist. So if you notice this fatigue, which could be compared to the muscle soreness you start to feel at the end of a certain exercise set at the gym when you're approaching muscle failure, stop and try to understand its causes. If you're a beginner, the cause could be very simple. You're using a muscle that you never used before in this manner, and because this muscle is still untrained, it gets tired very fast. So you have to train it gradually, just like you would do with any muscle group during gym workouts. First, use the pedal for only 5 minutes, then take a break and only practice without pedal. Then, when your leg feels completely rested, practice a bit more, and again, at the first little sign of tiredness, take another break, and so on until your leg becomes stronger. And by the way, if you're following our beginner course in a step-by-step manner, you will most likely never get tired because the sustained pedal is introduced in a very progressive manner. First, you only pedal one chord in one piece. Then you practice some pieces that do not require pedal at all. Then you pedal only a couple of chords. So this gradual approach is by far the healthiest one. And of course, the second possible cause of foot or leg fatigue or even joint pain is an incorrect pedaling technique, and it can happen if you're making one or several of the mistakes I mentioned earlier. If you train your pedaling skills correctly and gradually, in only a couple of weeks, maximum a few months, you should not feel any discomfort anymore, and your leg and foot should never get tired even if you practice 5 hours in a row. And last but not least, pain, especially if we talk about joint pain in your knee or your ankle, can also be caused by a medical issue. So for any musician, it's very important to learn how to make the difference between piano-related problems, which usually start on a muscular level and only after a while can degenerate into tendon or joint issues, and medical ones, which can manifest on a skeletal level straight away. And now let's make a quick recap of the healthy way to use the sustained pedal. Make sure your posture is correct, including the distance from the piano, which will allow you to have a right or obtuse angle in your knee joint. Keep your heel on the floor and the ball of your foot on the widest part of the pedal. Press the pedal by using your shin muscles, simultaneously making sure that you're not tensing any other muscles that are necessary for this action. Your foot should be in contact with the pedal at all times, with little exceptions when sometimes you might need to be 100% sure that a certain pedal change, this one for example, is as clear as possible. So you notice that when I perform the change, I might lift my foot just a little bit above this resting position of the pedal, but even in this case, you should still press and release the pedal in a very smooth, fluid manner, preventing the mechanism from making any noise, not to mention all the expressive benefits of this technique, which I mentioned in many other tutorials. Correct piano pedaling should not cause any unpleasant sensations, but if you do feel some fatigue in your leg or foot, take a break immediately, make sure you understand its causes, and never allow discomfort to degenerate into pain. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you'll always use the sustained pedal in a healthy manner that will allow you to bring out all your expressive intentions. Because let's not forget, even though today we talked about the physical part of piano pedaling, in the end, all our movements, all the techniques we use while playing should serve our expressive and artistic goals and should be in perfect tune with the musical ideas that are encoded in the pieces we practice. If you want to learn more about this professional approach to piano practice, join my piano coaching program at pianocareeracademy.com by clicking on the link in the description box below, and have instant access to many hundreds of other exclusive and very detailed piano playing tutorials, including step-by-step courses and interactive projects that reveal the professional principles of the Russian piano school through my holistic approach to piano playing and lifestyle. Have an inspired practice, and I'll see you soon. Bye!